Hi, my name is Vladimir. I'm one of the devs at Foxy Voxel, and this is the first larger update of the game since it came out. The name of the update is Shelves and Racks, because that's what we added, some nice shelves and racks, so you can store your stuff more neatly. So let's take a look. We added standing bookshelves and wall bookshelves. So wall bookshelves are similar to the ones we had before. Building them inside a room with a research bench will create a library room. But now, when they're built, they're empty, and villagers can bring book piles onto them. A wall bookshelf can carry 3 book piles, as we see here, and a standing bookshelf can carry 4 book piles. And you can determine which types of books you want them to carry. So if you only want theses or only textbooks, you can do it easily. On the item side, we've added a weapon rack. Weapon rack can store up to 3 different weapons or shields. You can determine what you want it to be stored there. You have these nice icons here to know what's stored on this rack at any given moment. You can also see by hovering over the rack. You can see that it has 1 fine short bow and 1 good iron longsword. Selecting a settler and right-clicking on the shelf will give you the possibility to equip those items or to deconstruct it. We also added armor racks. So armor racks are a bit more simple. They can only store 1 headgear and 1 body gear, but I think they look pretty cool in rooms where people are making armor and stuff. So if we say no caps, only headgear, they won't have linen caps or leather caps or whatever you have there. Here in my basement, I have a couple of shelves. Here next to my cooking station, I have a shelf that has cabbages and herbs. This one also has cabbages and herbs. So the cool thing about shelves and racks is that the items and resources on them will not decompose from ground. So it's basically, they last longer, but they will still decompose because of the heat. So hovering over an item here or a resource, you'll see that it's rotting because of temperature. And it's decaying because of temperature. So you still need to put them in a nice cool room or under a roof so they're not in the rain. But it's still a nice step forward to making your stockpiles or storage rooms smaller and more organized. The other interesting thing we added together with shelves is stockpile priority. So this is something a lot of you guys asked for a long time, even during our first initial betas. Sorry that it took us a while to implement it, but now you can choose which priority your stockpile is. They're all default low, but you can change them very easily. So if we, for instance, make a small stockpile here and say, okay, you can only have iron or something. So iron nuggets, and we say it's a very high priority. Our settlers should jump on it to move the iron nuggets from this stockpile that's low priority to this stockpile that's very high priority. And that's a nice way for you to organize the flow of your resources. The good thing is that shelves also work the same way. So if we go to our shelves in our basement, we can tell our shelf that it's a very high priority. So this shelf will always be filled with, at the moment, herbs and cabbages, but we can say that we don't want herbs or that we don't want textile things, only food. Somebody should take the herbs off of the shelf and move them somewhere else and bring food. Yeah, they brought cabbages. I mean, who doesn't like cabbages? So that will make our kitchen nicely stocked for production. We made some changes to the resource piles. So before, limestone and iron and all these material piles had a maximum stack of 100. Now we upped it to 200, just so you don't need to have this massive stockyard of resources from mining off a small portion of the map. We also made visual differences between pile sizes. So for instance, this is a wood pile of 20 wood, only has a few logs. 100 wood has a few more, and 200 has much more. It's just nice, like visual thing to be easier to differentiate if you have a lot of wood or not that much. So, cutting down a small tree will drop this type of pile. Cutting down a larger tree will drop the medium type of pile. It could be easier to understand what has dropped and what hasn't. We also made some adjustments to the room detection system. I'm just going to turn on some developer tools. So before, what would make a room is 4 walls, door, and you needed closed off second floor or whatever, and a roof. And it would be a spare room. That would work nicely. But creating a stair inside that room, the game would still see it as the same room. So if we go on the overlay of the floor, it still does, because we want the option for the player to have small, like multi-layered rooms. But if you close off that, you're gonna get 2 rooms. So now we have 2 spare rooms, one downstairs, one upstairs. But if we destroy just one piece of the floor, it's gonna connect to that room again. It's a bit harder to see because spare rooms are gray. But if we turn this room in, let's say, Restitutionist Shrine, it's gonna be easier to see what I mean. Yeah, Restitution Chapel. Okay. So now the whole room is a Restitutionist Chapel. But if we were to add a floor here, the upper part would turn into a spare room. So I think this is going to be an interesting thing for you guys to make interesting decisions about how you design your rooms and how you design your settlement. Also, we have been getting a lot of complaints about floors in our game emitting heat. So if you would make a nice cellar like this and then put floors inside, the room would get much hotter, and that didn't make a lot of sense. This was a balancing issue, particularly on my end, because we made the ground emit to cool down a room. But if you build floor, it would isolate that cooling that's coming from the ground. So what I did is just tweak isolation of the floors a bit to make it work better. And now it makes much more sense. The temperature has been tweaked out slightly, so now you can't have like a very, very cold room during a heat wave, but you can get a pretty cold room during summer for resources to be preserved for a long time. That and many other things have been added to the game.
Thanks for watching. And if you'd like to stay updated on the process of going medieval, you can always join our community server on Discord for a chat and other fun stuff.